soon. So, without further ado, we've got a great program planned for y'all today. So help me make welcome for part one of today's Saturday morning merry-go-round, the Slate Mountain Ramblers.
Continue on here with a few more tunes. We don't have quite as big a crowd as Billy's Strings show last night, but just because the building is not that big.
Yeah,
I guess. All right, a little bit of,
Kitty Clyde?
little bit of, which
Kitty
one?
Clyde? Kitty Clyde?
Kitty Clyde, okay.
Say that you like me, Kitty Clyde.
Thank you. I'll take just a quick second and introduce everybody to you here this morning. Over here playing the guitar from right here in Mount Airy, North Carolina, Mr. Randy Hyatt.
And the crowd goes wild.
And the crowd. Wow.
Bring it on.
Here in the middle playing the fiddle, my dad, Mr. Richard Bowman. Back behind playing the bass, my mom, Barbara Bowman. Over here helping us today on the little guitar, the cutest one of the bunch, and the boss of all of us, Miss Malin Todd. And my name's Marsha Todd. Thank y'all for coming out this morning. For those of you here and dancing already, those listening and on YouTube. We'll do you another good dance number. How about a little Mississippi Cider?
Okay.
Great job from our special guest for part one of today's Saturday morning merry-go-round. And welcome now to all the folks watching on our YouTube stream. Also, we want to say happy birthday, and we're going to get a song on for you. But I heard from during that tune, Clifton Edwards up in Sparta, North Carolina. He's turning 90 years old today. We'll call it 90 years young, because I think if you turn 90, you probably need to get some kind of special something. And a tune for the Slate Mountain Ramblers is, hey, you can't get much more special than that, can you? So, if you don't mind, Marsha, why don't we dedicate the next song to Clifton on his 90th birthday up in Sparta today. Probably the winds are blowing up there too. And could we do one more and then take a break? Will that be all right?
Sounds like a plan. Well, happy birthday, Mr. Clifton. We'll send the whole show out to you. How's that? We won't just do one song. We'll dedicate the whole show for you. Happy birthday. I know the wind's blowing up there. We got some folks that come down the mountain this morning to see us here at the Earl and said it was a good old tailwind. Just had to let off the gas and it just pushed them right on down the mountain. We'll do another good one. A little bit of Rockin' Hand Cindy for you.
And old-time music right there. We're going to take a real quick break and we'll be back with more on today's Saturday morning merry-go-round program right after this.
Enhance your home's comfort and style at prices you won't believe.
I said, you're just gonna have to be like your granny, give them a mouse.
White furniture this Friday and Saturday. August 3rd and 4th, the entire store is 20% off. That's right, 20% off the entire store's inventory. I've seen and I've got a sofa that's seen better days. And a mattress. And I could use a few new lamps. Maybe a picture. That's right, folks. Free delivery within 50 miles. Your same stash. Some solutions may apply. And right now, we take it back to the Earl Theater for more music on today's merry-go-round. And here's Jenny.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate Homeway Furniture. They do have that big sale going on. It's a store-wide sale running through this afternoon at closing time. Homeway Furniture there at the corner of West Lebanon Street and North Main. Right now, back to our special guests on the first portion of today's merry-go-round. That's the Slate Mountain Ramblers. What y'all got picked up for us next?
All right, thank you, Jenny. We're going to send one over to Stewart, Virginia, to Miss Brenda Joyce. We sure miss seeing her, and hopefully she can Put them socks on and kick a little spell around the kitchen. Brenda, this one's for you, a little bit of Hangman's Reel. I told him to cut you right off, Jimmy.
That's okay.
You got 4
Save
feet
my
into
breath.
it. All right, we're gonna play a little bit John Has Gone to War. We're gonna send this tune up to, I don't know if it'd be a Fancy Gap or Laurel Fork or I guess Snake Creek Road or where it would be right in there. Anyway, Mr. Denny Horton, I used to play with his dad, the Pine River Boys in Maybelle was the name of the band. And we played this tune here that I'm gonna play. It's called Johnny's Gone to War a lot. I'll send it up to Denny.
Marcia, during that last tune, we heard from Chad Ritchie. He wanted to let y'all know that he was listening in down in Taylorsville, North Carolina, and sounding real good.
Thank you, Chad. We appreciate you listening in. We're gonna do a little bit of, let's do Red Mountain Line and then we'll switch
All
over.
right, send it up to Georgie Lee.
All right, we're gonna send this right up the mountain to Miss Georgie Lee. Hope she's doing well.
Learned a lot of these old tunes off of the Kimballs when I started out playing. So, Georgie Lee, this tune's especially for you.
Ain't got nobody, ain't got no home, ain't got nobody to call on my own. I'm satisfied with nothing to do but look for a dime for some Red Mountain wine. Got a home in California, got a home in Tennessee. Ain't got nobody waiting for me. I'm satisfied with nothing to do but look for a dime for some Red Mountain wine. Some women love me, some women won't. Some women hate me, some women won't. I'm satisfied with nothing to do but look for a dime for some Red Mountain wine. Got a home in California, got a home in Tennessee. Ain't got nobody waiting for me. I'm satisfied with nothing to do but look for a dime or some Red Mountain wine.
All right, great job. Love that team. They do a great job on it. That's the Slate Mountain Ramblers. Right now, we'll take a real quick break and hear a word from the sponsor of this portion of today's program. That's Price Power Equipment over in Elkin, North Carolina. And we'll be back with more music coming up right after this.
They starting out right, and I hear it every time I do Toro Sequence 4000 zero turn starts.
Y'all up there, we'll take a break after 2 this time. Okay?
What would happen if we hit there?
Sometimes people say that, no, I don't want to do that. Okay.
They really do say that.
No, not too much. Once or twice. And we thank you so much, Bob King. I know it's kind of been a stressful morning. I believe that the transmitter was out at the station because of the power outage, and power was out down here, but praise the Lord, it was on by the time we needed to start the program, so that's wonderful. And it's a wonderful pleasure to have on with us the Slate Mountain Ramblers. They always do such a great job, and we really appreciate them playing some music for us here on the merry-go-round today. What you got picked out for us next, Marcia?
All right, thank you, Jenny. We're gonna slow it down and do one. We're gonna do the next two in memory of one of our dearest friends that passed away just a couple weeks ago, Miss Claudine Jones. She meant the world to us. I have known her my whole life and her whole family, and she loved this music. she absolutely loved this music, along with her husband Sherman and brother Tommy and Phyllis, and her mom, Mr. Claude and Mary Leftwich. We played for her parents' funeral, and we played for Claudine's funeral just a couple weeks ago. You know, you can't replace people that love the music and are family like yours. But we're going to play these next two in memory of Claudine. We sure miss her. And we're going to do Over the Waves. And this was Claudine's mother's favorite tune. Growing up, we'd play at Ararat Roofing Building, and she'd come around and dance. And we played the first Saturday night for many years. She'd walk by and Daddy'd be playing it. She's like, I want you to play that at my funeral. Many times. So here's a little bit of Over the Waves. Thank you.
All right, so you're going to do Ducks on the Mill Pond. Over the years that I've played, I guess it's story time.
Oh, no.
Over the years that I've played, you know, all kinds of things has happened, you know, just some of it little things, some of it big things, but Malin, she keeps dropping her straight pick over here. We're gonna have to get her a little bit of rosin on them fingers to.
She's like her mama.
But years ago, played around with Ben Flippin and well, all of the older bands years ago I did play a lot with, but Anyway, there was a lady that played with Benton and us quite a bit. Her name was Macy Horton. And somebody asked Benton one time, said, is she a pretty good guitar player, Benton? Benton said, yeah, if she could hold on to her pick. She was like Maylee, she's always dropping her pick.
D fiddle. D. You switched them. Dad has played the same fiddle in D chord for years. And I mean like probably 30 years. And here in the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, he has switched. So I say D chord and he'll pick up the wrong fiddle every single time. And I'm like, wrong fiddle.
That just goes with getting a little more experience behind you.
We're going to play Ducks on the Mill Pond, and this was Claudine's absolute favorite dancing tune. So we'll do this in memory of her and send it out to all of her family. A little bit of Ducks on the Mill Pond.
And just let me tell you this too.
Just say,
We always, me and Barbara, we always got our first Christmas card every year from Claudine and Sherman. And it never failed. It was always the first one, like the first day of December, we go to the mailbox and there her card was. Well, 3 or 4 years ago, just kept looking for it and I didn't ever get it. And I thought, well, maybe it's got tangled up in the mail or something, but no, I wasn't gonna let it go. So I had Marcia to video me a little video and she sent it to Claudine. So a little later, Claudine had forgot. So a little later, I got my card. And then another week or 2, it was before Christmas, I got the second card. So the next year, you can only do this with friends, So the next year, along about the last of November, I sat down and wrote her. I don't do much writing. I sat down and wrote her a little note and sent it to her in the mail, just like I was going to send a Christmas card. But I reminded her that December and Christmas was coming up, not to forget my card.
She was one of them people that you won't never forget. My birthday's coming up here in about a week or so, and she always brought me something. And I don't mean a gift. She was a wonderful cook. We have played this weekend on the merry-go-round for years as well. She used to come through the door here to dance and would bring me a warm chocolate cake fresh out of the oven. And if we wasn't playing or if she couldn't get it done that Saturday, she'd take it by Mom and Daddy's and leave it on the porch. Or she'd come by my office where I worked. That's the type of person.
So that's the reason I feel like that we just need to do a little talking about her.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
A little bit of Ducks on the Mill Pond. Ducks on the mill pond, you see in the ocean, all them pretty girls dressed in the ocean.
Also, we want to tell you to stay tuned after the 12 o'clock news. We'll have another great group on with Too Young, Too Old. Right now, we'll send things back to you, Bob King, and take an updated look at the weather forecast. And we'll be back with more music coming up here on the Saturday morning merry-go-round on the voice of the Blue Ridge, WPAQ.
One today for the high expected. And northwest wind still prominent at 50 miles an hour, so 25 mile gusts. Tonight clear overnight low 37, northwest winds 9 after a little bit tomorrow. And above the mid-60s and sunshine with a little bit of northwesterly breeze. Those winds will start to move from out the southwest on Monday.
I want to hear the rest of the story about Harry Collins. I'm sorry, I had to make sure Roger told me.
Yes, sunshine Saturday 66, overnight low sunshine 38, and near 70 on Monday with sunshine. Again, winds out southwest in the afternoon. 49 is Monday night, partly cloudy. And big dip on Tuesday night, overnight low down to 34 after daytime high of 67 on Tuesday. And a high of only around 58 on Wednesday with sunshine. Likewise, near 60 on Thursday with sunshine, and then again, that chance of rain is like maybe in your belly around about Friday. And what big forecast coming again at the top of the hour. Right now, we take you back to the Hero Theater. More music. Once again, here's Jenny.
Thank you so much, Bob King, and we are having some windy weather, and it's that's what I was thinking was wrong with the power, was maybe that the wind blowed it out, but I think it was actually a wreck here close by, maybe on South Street. But it is a beautiful day, and if you're in and around downtown, please stop by the Earl Theater and see us. We'd love to have you. And right now, we'll send things back over here to the stage of the Earl for part one of today's merry-go-round featuring the Slate Mountain Ramblers.
All right, thank you, Jenny. We're gonna get the boss of the show up here to sing one for you. She won't talk to you, but she'll sing like a bird, that's for sure. So we'll get Miss Malin up here to sing a little bit of I Shall Not Be Moved. And we want to send this down to Mr. Jordan Nance. Hopefully he's listening in. Jordan, hope you're doing good, buddy. Here's Malin.
I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the water. I shall not be moved. Jesus is my Savior. I shall not be moved. Jesus is my Savior. I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the water. I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the water. I shall not be moved. I'm on my way to glory land and I shall not be moved. I'm on my way to glory land and I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the water. I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the water. I shall not be moved.
Good job, Malin. Thank you, honey. We'll get you another dance number up here. Get the right fiddle there, Richard. He's struggling this morning.
I don't pay no attention to it much because I know I got 3 or 4 more people to helping me along here.
The Lord knows you need it too, Betty.
Kim, after we get this one done, maybe Coy will get up here, we're gonna play his tune and dance a little jig.
Okay.
We'll, after this one here, what you gonna do, Marcia?
Let's play a little bit Sally Ann, maybe.
Sally Ann?
Thank you.
Get my cousin Conway Bowman up here and dance a little bit. We're gonna play him one of his favorite tunes, a little bit of cackling hinging. His daddy and my daddy was brothers. And sometimes you just gotta talk about stuff instead of play so much, I guess. But seemed like it's one of them days. They used to come, my daddy never did have a driver's license. And his brother, my uncle, which was Coy's daddy Virgil, him and his wife would come up there on, well, they'd show up anytime. I was aimed to say on Sunday afternoons, but he had an old 53 Chevrolet car. And the brakes and the clutch pedal worked up out of the floorboard, and it was an older car, and sometimes that thing would get wore and lay over, and they come down the road there and was pulling in there where he just run that front end of that car, just right against that tree, and it just bounced his wife just right up against the windshield about it. And I mean, the brake pedal just hung, I guess, against that metal. And they come home to the house, and Mama said, "Are you hurt, Gracie?" And we was just all sitting there on the porch. She said, "No, I'm used to it." That's just the way Uncle Verge was.
Marcia, I want to report that I heard from Keith Nance and wanted me to tell y'all that he got the biggest smile, Jordan did, hearing Malin sing. So I wanted to pass that along. Why don't we take one final break here in this first portion of the merry-go-round, and we'll hear a word, another word from Homeway Furniture, and we'll be back. More music coming up on the merry-go-round right after this.
Or tails.
Richard gets to talking.
New sectionals and sofas, new bed frames and mattresses, everything you need to enhance your home's comfort and style at prices you won't believe. That'll let you know. At Homeway Furniture this Friday and Saturday only, that's March 3rd and 4th. The entire store inventory is 20% off. That's right, 20% off the entire store's inventory. Here we go. I just got my tax return. And I'm at a sofa with sunlight.
That's okay.
Maybe
I think these are for the kids.
some exclusions.
Okay.
And we're gonna take it right back to the Aero Theater, and once again, here's Jenny.
Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate you once again this Saturday morning, Bob King. Also, during that break, heard from Sue Nestor. She's listening in. Wanted to tell y'all doing a mighty fine job as well. So now back to the Slate Mountain Ramblers. We got about 11 minutes, so 3 at least, maybe 4, depending on how fast they are, I guess.
And how long Dad plays them. That's really what matters. Thank you there, Jenny. We appreciate it. For those of you who missed the previous song that wasn't here to see that, look on YouTube. Cousin Coy usually walks with a cane. Well, about halfway through that song, he's about ready to pitch that cane in the trash can. He picked it up and held it and just kept right on dancing. I think he about gave Kim a heart attack, but the rest of us was good. I hit the spot today, Coy. Thank you, dear. We'll send this one up. Hey, Miss Sue Nestor. We'll send this one up to her. And had Steve and Diane Bowen on my mind. Roger Stamper was in here a little earlier. And made me think of Steve and Diane and Johnny and Nancy Gentry, wonderful old-time musicians. So we want to be sure and send the whole program out to all of those folks. Hadn't got to see any of them.
Shoes on today, haven't you?
Huh?
Diane?
Yeah, Diane takes her shoes off. And if it's summertime, I'd have out mine off. But I got my socks on today. My toes might get a little cold. But send the whole program down to those folks. Hadn't seen them lately. Sure miss seeing them. But we'll do a little bit of Sugar Hill for you. we sure appreciate everybody coming out. We got time for a couple more. Everybody coming here in the audience, Oscar and Tracy, they don't come from just around the street or over the corner. They drive about 4 or 5 hours, and 4 hours, 5 if it gets hung up in traffic. And we sure appreciate their support. They sure love the music, and
They think a whole lot of me.
I'm just gonna keep right on going. I ain't even gonna comment. Tracy laughs, so we know that's a pile of crap there, Dad. No, Nelba and Raymond and Jeff, we're sure thankful Nelba gave Raymond some money to come in. That usually helps the cause a little bit. And Alton and Brenda, thank you. We're gonna play a little bit of Ragtime Annie. We wanna do this for Willis Sue back here. I think she's sitting back there.
Yeah.
There she is. And send it up to Draper, Virginia, to Alfred and Daphne. Maybe he can park that tractor long enough to get out and dance. We got time for about one more maybe, but before we get off here, we'll mention 2 special people. We always want to remember Mr. Clyde Johnson. He was the host of the merry-go-round for so many years, and the guitar player the last 7 or 8 years of his life. He hosted, it was either 43 or 44 years. He was here every Saturday. So we sure miss Clyde. He was part of the family. And we also want to be sure and send the program up to Stephen Snow and all the Snow family. Today would have been Max Snow's birthday. And I don't remember exactly. He got the deer in the headlight look. He don't remember either.
100.
Huh?
Would it be 100?
I can't remember when he was born. But today would have been Max Snow's birthday. And Mac played with us for many, many years. Played with Benton and Ernest, played with everybody. He was, one of my favorite records was the Pine Ridge Boys and Patsy, and it was Mac and Scotty and Patsy and Ernest. Done some wonderful singing. He'd sing about every song, and he'd put a run in all day long.
Ernest used to say, he'd just play right up and just have to wait on us.
But yeah, he'd put so many runs in, he'd get ahead of everybody and just sit there and hold it and wait.
Yeah, just play right up till we'd have to wait on us.
But a lot of good memories of Max Snow and Mr. Clyde Johnson. So we got time for one more. Thank you, Jenny.
We've been fortunate.
Thank you, Bob King at the radio station and all the DJs, Kenneth Barrier, Philip Adams, Mr. Tim Fry. Everybody, we sure appreciate it. We're going to close with a little bit of fortune. Once I had a fortune locked up in my trunk, lost it all gambling one night when I got drunk. Fortune I had, fortune I lost, fortune I lost it one night when I got drunk. They will be with us back in the month of November this year, so we'll be looking forward to seeing them.